Thank you for joining us. This is Health Your Own Way podcast, and I am your host, Mo Atkins. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about how to be empowered over the age of 50 and beyond. My guest is Rachel Gotto. She works as a personal transformation coach, a clinical hypnotherapist, author, and an inspirational speaker. I'm really happy to have her all the way from Ireland. Please correct me if it's not from Ireland, but it is. And I think she has different perspectives in respects to, how as we get older, why we need to stay motivated and why we need to be empowered. So thank you, Rachel, for joining us. Anything you want to add before we dive in?
No, that's absolutely lovely. Thanks for inviting me on, Mo. It's lovely to meet you and speak to you.
I know it's, as we were talking earlier, it's different because with the COVID-19, it's a huge opportunity to meet different people. And as we age, we should be coming out of our comfort zone and interact with people that can enlighten us, like we're currently talking to you today.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's a real pleasure. And of course, transatlantic, which is even better. So we're connecting nations and we're connecting right across the world. So I think that is always really a wonderful thing.
I like that. And, as we mentioned, you're a health professional and a mentor. Like when you speak to women, why is it important for them to stay empowered as they get older? Like I see a lot of people as they feel like their life ends as they get older. They don't want to do anything. But from you, I can tell like you're a vibrant woman. You're out there. Tell us why.
Why? I'm out there doing it. And I think that it's such an important time of life, Mo, because I think historically, if we look back to our parents' generation, when our mothers got to 50 and beyond, it was almost as if they had to, have their hair gray and shuffle around the place. And I think now, well, certainly in Ireland it was, and certainly now it has changed enormous amounts. Postmenopausal is not the end of the game at all. And my life actually is an interesting sort of slant on that because I was prevented from working up until very recently. I didn't get a chance to work anywhere through my 30s or 40s because I was gravely ill for a very long time. And I had a lot of trauma visit my life. And so I only really came into my power when I was about 45, when I was recovering. Oh. And a lot of my thoughts were, oh goodness, it's nearly over. What am I going to do? How am I going to make a mark on the world? How am I going to have the career that I never managed to have? And slowly but surely, I managed to gain the confidence that actually it was my journey that gave me all the skills necessary to start again. And just because I was hitting 50 and just because I was entering into that phase in life that we kind of almost archetypally see as the old lady, the old crone, well, I was delighted to recognize my old crone inside. And I realized, the old crone, and archetypally, she's got a wart on her nose and she's hunched over, but what else is she? She's a woman who's got experience and wisdom, and she's got all of this stuff inside her that she can bring to the table. Also, she's walked a long road, so not much will faze her. And I started to recognize that, Mo, that actually this was my time to shine, not my time to say, oh my goodness, life has done me a hard deal and now I've just got to live out my old age. And I think the other thing as well is, Mo, is that coming at 50, we're only really halfway done, aren't we now at this point? We're living longer. And if we live longer well, which is, of course, I think your game and my game, is that we must live longer well, not live longer ill. So I put a lot of work into my own physical health. I'd been paralyzed following a brain tumor, and I had ended up inadvertently a prescription drug addict. So I had a lot of obstacles to overcome. I had a lot of things that I needed to put to bed and heal before I was ready to go out in the world. And I did feel de-skilled. And this is why I love to speak about starting again at 50, is because it can be done. And we just need to stop and think that we just haven't arrived the day before. We have so many wonderful skills inside. And if we can send that message of inspiration and positivity out with our life experience behind us and every other skill that we have, then as we're moving into older age, we're truly bringing wisdom, strength, holding, and solidity and grounding and lots of inspiration to people who are coming up behind. So I think that it is almost, we should do it. We should go out there and we should really spread the news that life is getting longer. If we can live well longer, my goodness, have we got a lot to offer. So that's where I'm at with it.
I sat here so inspired. I was sitting here, I want to live longer than 50. I was like so
Yeah.
happy. I think,
Yeah.
no, honestly, listening to you, I can tell that you're very passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell that, you've had, for people that are watching or even listening, it's more like, okay, I've gone through all this. My life didn't start until I hit 45, 50. Doesn't mean it ends at 50, right? So just if you've had bad issues or you had bad experience, realize that you have more to live, take it by the horn and just live it for the fullest as possible. With that said, as women, what do you think are some of the misconceptions that you think as a society affects a lot of women from actually feeling being empowered at the age of 50 and beyond?
It's a really good question. I don't know what it's like over there in Canada.
It's all the
But
same. Believe
it's
me.
probably all the same.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a lot of, kind of the social media, the messages that used to be there. Probably it's changing a lot now, but, menopause was something that we certainly, shirked back from, and nobody mentioned it. It was a secret. And it was also apparently a time in our lives which was so difficult. And, so there were a lot of things that stand in the way. Sensuality, sexuality, are you over the hill? I don't feel that. I feel that actually I'm more sensual now than I ever was. So I think that there is a lot of flowering to be done in our 50s. But you've got to become conscious about it. You've got to understand, where did you get your information from too? Because I know my mother always said to me, oh, my grandmother was old and gray. Oh, and so we have these sort of belief systems that we get from our parents and from the generations before. I think the 50 is now the new 30 to me. That's how I'd look at it without being outlandish. I think there is so much more living to do. So if there are belief systems, or if you've got this idea in your head, you need to just absolutely get fit and healthy and realize that you have so much to give. So any impediment that comes in your way that you believe about life when you're older, you've got a lot more staying power. You're not so easily rocked off your pedestal. Probably your ego is a little bit less out in front. You've got a lot more wisdom, and you're able to probably take the knocks with the high bits a little in more equality. And so I think if you're talking about in the corporate setting or in the workplace, who doesn't want somebody like that? Who doesn't want somebody who is walking their talk quite literally? And who doesn't want somebody who's brought up children and has had that rocky road as well, with that armor underneath their arm? We bring a lot of tools to the workplace and among our own sisterhood, I think. And so I think becoming conscious of where you are informed, where you learned about being a woman, is really important as you come into being 50, and accepting that lots and lots and lots is available, and we have changed so much. And let's kick over the Tracys and live. Let's kick over the Tracys and go for it.
I like what you say, because unfortunately my mom died when I was young, so it's not like I hear that. But sometimes social media could be a very negative area, and sometimes it can be very positive. The reason why I say this is I've seen women over the age of 40, 50, even 60, 70. I saw, and you can tell that they're getting empowered to feel healthier. They're losing the weight. They're showing their sexuality, the sensual, like they're not letting old mentality, old views of how women should be at the age of 50, 60 behave. Even if you're a mom, like I remember when I was growing up, mom would just be a mom. She'd just look like a mom and didn't have her own life. It was just her kids, right? But at the age of 50, since a lot of people are having kids older, you are a kid, you are having kids sometimes at 50. So you're raising kids at sometimes at 50. So I think a lot of people lose themselves, and then they feel like because their identities are kids, or even if you already raised your kids and you're now by yourself at 50, it's more like your identity is not a mother. You are a person. If you've had children at this point, maybe at the age of 50 and more, try to reclaim some of that, vibrant person, or reintroduce yourself. That's a better term. Reintroduce yourself.
Reintroduce yourself to yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely, Mo.
Yes.
Really good. And, that is such a great point that you've made there is, who am I without my children? Who am I without a partner? Who am I? Where is Rachel? And I had to do a lot of that work looking for Rachel. And I found that even, after all the tragedies and traumas that visited my life, I was actually still there unbroken somewhere inside that little place. And when I found her again, she just came with me. And then she is part of who I present. And absolutely, we need to reclaim ourselves into our womanhood and recognize that, yes, we have labels, we have titles, we have all of these things, but inside is a person with hopes and dreams and energy and lots to offer. So yeah, really good point.
And it's for me, it's been very empowering to meet people like you and others that you see. Because at one point, when I was growing up, it was more like when you're 50, almost life is over. Like technically, like life is over. And I'm just like, no, I'm turning 40 in about a year from now. And I'm just like, I got a lot of life to live. I'm looking forward to like the traveling. Like I feel like when you said something interesting, what you said earlier was very interesting. Like as you get older, you understand you have a little more self-confidence to a certain extent. You have a little more padding, not padding like getting fat, but more like you've gone through a lot of life that you can take more hits. You have a little more, who you are a bit more better.
Yeah, you do. You do. And you can forgive more yourself more, and you can self-soothe a lot better. And, you can find the positive in the not so positive, and, maybe not sweat the small stuff through the night as well. I know I've got better at switching off at night.
I'm working on that. I'm going to get there.
Yeah,
I'm going to get there.
It's a tough one, isn't there? That old monkey mind loves to go and crank up right at midnight, doesn't he? And chat. So, but a lot of that we can work on anyway, isn't it? And, what I have found in my older age, which I think is the most enriching thing in the world, Mo, is actually deep bonds with other women.
Really?
Yeah, I find it so much easier. I think when I was younger, I wasn't confident. And, I had all of these insecurities and fears that I dragged with me through my life. And now I think I can see people for the love and beauty that they are. And I'm braver now that I can dive in and be more vulnerable in relationships than I ever would have before, because I care less. And I don't mean I don't care. I care less about people seeing me warts and all. And I think that's another thing about being over 50. You kind of get into that place of, just see me for who I am. And and I see other people, and I can see that, they walked a journey too, and so we can all be brave together and share on a deeper, more meaningful level. I love deep and meaningful conversations, and I find that in my 50s, they're so enriching. It really invigorates me.
I guess for lack of a better choice word, maybe I do have it, is that you kind of I'm excited. I think for the first time I've actually been excited to get older. I'm
selling it.
I was like the first time, I think in a sense, like maybe not the pains and everything, but I think just the journey of learning something and then understanding that, what I would assume, what I see now as issues is just small stuff. Like, I'm looking forward to that. I think even compared to my 20s to my 30s, I feel like I'm a different person. I'm a little more grounded and self-aware. I appreciate this conversation. I'm like, anybody that wants to learn more about, your speaking, your platform itself, what is the best source of platform that we can reach out? You have a website, Instagram, let us know.
I'm on all major platforms. I think at the moment, my new love is Twitter. I've really, really loved Twitter because I find that I connect to people beautifully on Twitter. It's such a nice community. I do. Okay. So I'm at Rachel Gotto on Twitter. I have a Instagram platform, which I really enjoy because I let people have insights into my private life from there. So you get snapshots of what I do in my off time. I'll let you know I love chickens, and I keep them as pets. So I sometimes
Why? Hold on back. You can't just say that. Like, you can't just put that in like it's like
I just get past it. I just love chickens. They are some of the most beautiful pets, and they're a pet that gives, because I don't eat meat. So I eat eggs and cheese. And so it's a wonderful little gift that I get every day from my pets, and they get to lead a lovely life here with me. And when I'm out and about by the front door, they're let out too. And so, yeah, I keep pet hens, and I'll let you know the name of my favorite hen. Her name's Geraldine. Okay.
Love this.
Geraldine is my pet hen. So there we are. So that's what I do on Instagram at Rachel V Gotto. I let you know what I get up to and what I do on a daily basis. And I'll be posting about this up today. And I have a website, of course, where I do my formal work, which is rachelgotto.com. And this year I'm doing a complete upgrade. I'm on my third incarnation of a website. So right now I am doing a lot of work behind the scenes to have some new material and a lot of new stuff to go up there. So I'm excited about that. Really.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know how hard it is to rebuild a new website. Like I'm currently working on one right now, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
With that said, what's next for you? Like I know that, you know, as you said, keep yourself empowered. What are you doing to keep yourself empowered? So what's next for you?
I have a lot of things in the pipeline, Mo, some really exciting things. I suppose the most exciting thing this year is that my memoir, Flying on the Inside, is going to be published.
Oh, congratulations.
And, you know, thank you. It's been a long time coming. And I'm only going to hint at my life story and just tell you that it is a remarkable life story. And when I was coming around from a 15-hour operation and recovering from paralysis, my life had literally ended. I'd lost my husband in a terrible accident. I'd lost my brother. It was really, really a dark time. And my mother whispered in my ear many, many years ago, I think it was probably in 2007, she said, one day you're going to walk again. And one day you're going to tell your stories to the world. And I didn't believe her. And I cried. And I said, who's ever going to listen to me? Who's ever going to listen to this story? It's so miserable. Never for 1 minute, Mo, did I think that I would walk again, that I would lead a normal life, that I would gain most of the use of my body again. And so I wrote Flying on the Inside to tell that story. And it's a memoir of trauma and recovery. And so I'm excited for that coming out, and it's going to come out. I think they keep moving the publication date to Amazon, but I think it's now the 1st of November this year. Okay. And we're currently starting on the publication and the PR and all of that stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So it's available on pre-order at Amazon now. So if anybody Googles me on Amazon Books, you'll find it's on pre-order. So I think that's the most exciting thing for me. I feel so honored and humbled and delighted and excited that this has actually come to pass. I can't believe that I'm actually, one, still here to do this, and number two, that my story will get out to the world. And my whole aim, Mo, is that I want somebody to see themselves in my story in some way, that they can say, that's me too. And then they'll know that if that's you too, there is always a way through obstacles. There's always a way forward. And my main message, Mo, if I'm ever going to leave a message, is never, ever, ever please give up, because I nearly gave up. And then just around the corner, there was something major. I was given a life-changing operation that saved my life. So never give up. There will always be a solution somewhere inside. So hang in there, breathe, and trust, and know that something is coming around the corner. And then we don't know what will happen, something amazing.
I love that, because it just shows even the theme of the whole conversation we're having is that, you know, don't just stop living. You know, if you're going through issues right now, just know that there is always, like, if someone like Rachel or anybody else out there that's going through problems can get over it, you as well can get over it. So hang on and, you know, reach out to Rachel if you have any questions for her service in respects to her books. I think with that said, anything else you want to add before we let you go today?
Just that I'm so honored that you invited me to speak. I love reaching out to different nations and across the world. And I think this is how we unite, and we unite, right? Even COVID is stopping us all meeting in some shape or form, but we can still unite. And thank goodness that we can all reach out and have our connections in a different way. So I'm just honored that you invited me to speak, Mo. It's a really pleasure.
No, likewise. And I think, and, you know, a lot of people say I'm honored, but then this is my platform. And the fact that you want to get on the platform itself and have this conversation with me, I myself am honored, because you never know, like, you start something, you just like, but then somebody wants to do it with you. It's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
We're glad to have you join us. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share with anyone that needs to be empowered and inspired. And don't forget to join us next week for the next episode of Health Your Way podcast. Have a good day, you guys.